Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for staying with us through that long break, but
Very long.
Very long. Too long. We're going to hype it up again, though. We got Empire versus Liquid, the losers bracket finals. New hand motions, LD.
We want blood. We want blood. Yeah, should be a good series, though. Liquid versus Empire. Last time these two teams fought, it went the distance. It was best of three, and Liquid came out on top. Empire blamed server. We're going to start on Luxembourg for Game 1. Game 2 will be USC's, and Game 3 is when we'll do the coin flip. So the coin flip, we'll see if it comes into play. Maybe Liquid's just going to make a statement and 2-0 them here.
Yeah, or conversely, maybe Empire will make a similar statement as they've been destroying this losers bracket, man.
Yeah, 2-0 Speed, and then they also 2-0 Speed again later the same day. Now, Liquid, different team. Different style. I think Liquid style might match up a bit better, though. They're not as greedy as Speed. They prefer more early to mid-game grouping and fighting, and that's harder for a more gank-oriented team like Empire to punish. But we'll see how the teams match up.
We certainly will. Game 1 is underway.
Predictions before we...
Predictions. I'm still confident in Empire. I'm also confident it'll go to Game 3, but I'm going to beat you to it. 2-1 Empire. Will you second the notion, LD?
Liquid did it once. They can do it again. Let's go, Team USA. 2-1 Liquid.
All right. Let's take a look at this draft. Team Empire will start off with the bold first pick, Invoker. I like it, LD, though though Liquid with very smart bans. They did take out Visage as well as Doom as one of their first bans.
Yeah, if you'd seen this like a week ago, we just know it's Quas Exhort, but it's been almost exclusively Quas Wex from Resolution, and Resolution has been on fire. He had an amazing performance yesterday on Invoker in the, what was that tournament that they were joined out of streaming?
ISO Cup.
ISO Cup, right.
ISO Cup Grand
They
Finals.
have so many tournaments right now, I couldn't keep them straight. Yeah, they great performance in ISO Cup, great performance in this event as well against Speed on Invoker. We also saw his Storm Spirit, I believe it was. What else did he play yesterday? He's played Storm earlier in the tournament. I'm just going to look it up.
I wasn't ready for this pop quiz, LD.
Resolution's been a beast. As for Liquid, they've been favoring a lot of Luna Chen lately. We've seen them first pick Chen. We've seen them first pick Luna. Enchantress, they've not picked it as much until today. They picked it twice today. It did not work out well for them at all. But generally, every game, it's a guarantee that Liquid will pick a jungler. Then again, it's had mixed results, so should teams be banning them? I think they've got to prove that they can win with it.
Yeah, we saw earlier that first failed gank with Enchantress did cost Team Liquid a little bit in that winner's bracket finals. So I think you're absolutely right. The Enchantress, although a very powerful hero, Liquid is still not quite at that instant ban territory. Empire did opt to ban out that Elder Titan, which they have been running quite a bit, and obviously Nyx Assassin taken out of the pool as well. Empire with a second pick Clockwork on their way to a very solid lineup, very well-rounded picks, and long initiation with that Clockwork. Could be gearing up for a little bit of a global strategy with that Sunstrike as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're going to see Quaswex Invoker, but good initiation range from that too. So yeah, whether it's Tornado or Hookshot, they can catch people from all over the place. And he had some very big long-range initiations in the ISO Cup match against Speed. So
yeah,
we'll see if they do it again. Empire ran a Void the other day. It's pretty unusual. I don't...
Oh, yeah.
Maybe something they keep in their back pocket. He can be really good against early pushes, though, if you Chronosphere and catch them in a bad position. The one issue with Void is he needs a lot of farm. He takes a while to come online and can potentially be punished by early aggression. So I don't think it's really a Void game, to be honest, but Empire's going to ban out the Prophet. We haven't seen Koikfa's Prophet. It used to be by far his staple hero, and would synergize pretty well with their strategy. So I think it's a good ban.
Yep. And Liquid will third ban the Ancient Apparition. We've seen Team Empire, the team, utilizing AA quite a bit. That AA Veno combo has been pretty popular, as we've been talking about. Though, won't be an option here. And I don't know, it's an interesting ban from Liquid, because even though Empire have been running Ancient Apparition, it really hasn't translated to a high degree of success in this tournament. There were a couple really powerful AA games, but he's certainly lost more than he's won.
Yeah, Ancient Apparition is... he can be a very strong hero. I think he's stronger when you've got heroes like Clockwork and Invoker with a lot of crowd control, because it makes up for his lack thereof. So, Liquid also, if they want to push early, Ancient Apparition really shuts it down. So, a good ban. Empire bans the Death Prophet Liquid also having mixed results with this hero. Boba had that ridiculous ultra kill game the other day, and he had a weaker performance today on the Death Prophet, though it wasn't particularly his fault, just the whole team didn't have a good series.
Right.
There's still, if they want to commit to a pushing strategy, there's still a Dragon Knight mid that they could run. They could maybe run a Pugna, although I think that's too squishy. DK mid does decently against Quaswex Invoker, but it's for Liquid. For me, it's less what they draft and more how they move, because their execution was just real against Sad Boys. But they banned Venomancer, a good counter pushing support, and then they pick Shadow Shaman. Liquid is just, they're all about taking early towers. It's really been the only draft we've seen out of them, except for the Slark Storm game, but that game went very poorly.
Yeah. Yeah. So, as you mentioned with Shadow Shaman, important to reiterate that the wards are so crucial in that early stage. He doesn't scale very well, and you need to make sure your wards are placed appropriately, whether it's for a team fight to secure kills, whether it's to push a tower, but wasting those wards and not securing some sort of an objective can really come to bite you in the ass.
That's more so if he's solo mid, though, and I think Liquid tends to run him as a support, so...
Think so?
I don't think it's going to be a Bulba Shadow Shaman, and if he is support, then it's still important how you use the wards. You don't want to feed them to the enemy team.
Right. But that is true, and it's about 300 gold bounty for each. If you drop a ward and it gets killed by the other team, it's about 300 gold-ish.
For the whole set.
For the whole set, yes.
Yeah, not each ward's like 30, I think.
It's like 9 wards, and they vary like 30 to 35, 30 to 40.
Something in that range.
Close to that,
It's around, it's a couple hundred gold, but... Yeah, if he wastes his wards, it's not like it costs them the game the way it does, where it can if you're solo mid Shadow Shaman, because as a support, I think he scales very well. Good lockdown, good pushing power, good at forcing Roche engagements, and so we'll see. Liquid, more likely, I think we'll see like a Bulba Dragon Knight mid. Elder Titan has been banned, so we're not going to see that. Timbersaw used to be one of Bulba's go-to heroes, but haven't seen it much as of late, and interesting pick from Liquid now.
The Alchemist.
Yeah, really looking like a strong Roche lineup.
Yeah.
Minus armor for Roche, wards for Roche, Luna Aura for Roche, and Enchantress untouchable to tank it. Empire, though, a good team to fight around the pit. Tornado, EMP, and Clockwork, all of them and Dazzle.
Yeah, Weave. Yeah, it's been a big playmaker around the Roche. But important to note, it gives you vision, so if the other team's in the pit, you know they're there. You can use it as a scouting tool as well as a good initiation.
Yeah, they've got lots of ways to scout the pit. The Rocket, the Tornado. Even if these Quaswex will still take 8 point in Exhort and can Sunstrike for the vision. So Liquid won't really be able to sneak a Roche on Empire, but they can still... It's a team that's good at fighting in the pit and around the pit against a team that's good at killing Roche. So it will be interesting to see how those fights play out.
Yeah.
Now Empire goes for the Gyro for Silent, and Silent's generally been one of our greedier carry players. We've seen a lot of early Midas rush out of him, a lot of early Helm the Dominator.
Yeah.
You compare that to, say, like TC, and TC when he plays Gyro, it's always an early BKB and more of a 5-man style. Obviously, he's going to play Luna this game, but...
So, interesting to see how these lanes will work out for Liquid, because they have 3 quote-unquote supports. Is this a Bulba Alchemist? Is that what we're assuming?
It should be a solo mid Alchemist. Maybe it could be a solo mid Shadow Shaman.
Yeah.
It just seems less likely to me because Liquid haven't been running it. But and against Invoker, he's an okay matchup. It's not like a... Shadow Shaman just doesn't normally dominate his lane, is his main weakness. But... if they want to prioritize taking towers early, then Shadow Shaman is more important for levels than Alk. If they want to take it more late game and have like a more versatile sort of approach to the game, then I think Alk mid is going to be stronger because he scales better. And
it's more of a dual core kind of lineup with a Luna and an Alchemist rather. Putting all your cards into Luna. Now there's the Tusk last pick, and it crossed my mind, but I wasn't sure if this was going to be a good game for a Koikva Tusk, but it appears Liquid are confident, and that is a hero that Koikva really, really loves. Basically, his signature hero at this point, as no other teams are running Tusk right now. At least I haven't seen much other Tusk action.
Alliance has played it a bit. That's pretty much it. Okay. Liquid and Alliance, the only 2 teams I've seen.
Yeah, that Frozen Sigil, man.
It's really good against melee carries.
Yeah.
They have 3 ranged heroes. Flat Cannon's got really long range. I mean, it's still good for the move speed slow and just general chasing, but I don't think he's as strong this game as he was that one game we saw where he was against the Lifestealer as the 1 position carry. Still a good hero, though. Gives you a lot of burst and a good roaming ganker. So Alk, Tusk, 2 heroes that can just dive you under your tower and very quickly kill you under it.
Yeah.
But Empire actually go Disruptor, so... when he snowballs in, if you're quick, you just glimpse him back out, and maybe you can live.
Now, can he snowball over kinetic field?
I don't know.
We're
going to find out.
I've never seen that, yeah. And also, the other day when we saw Tusk, we were talking about the snowball and whether the speed that it moves. And actually, the tooltip can help us out on that one. It moves at a percentage of Tusk's current movement speed. So again, if he's slowed, like Poison Touch, for example, you can use that snowball as a way to make yourself immune slightly longer. And of course, that can also be a bit of a double-edged sword if you're using it to initiate and you're slowed ahead of time. That snowball rolls very, very slow. So we are now loaded into the game. Game 1 of this best-of-3 series. This is the Losers Bracket Finals. The loser of this series will be going home with a third-place finish, and the winner, of course, will be moving on to the Grand Finals to face off against the Sad Boys.
Liquid, well, off the bat, Empire's going aggressive. We've seen them level 1 smoke a lot. Looks like they're not actually smoking this time around. Well, they might.
They
have Clockwork going to walk down the hill. Are they going to smoke? Nope, they don't have one. They're just going to make an aggressive move into the enemy jungle. They want to shut down the Enchantress early, as well as the greedier support Shadow Shaman. A hero that needs to pull a lot. And Way 2 does place an Observer Ward. He should make it out okay, but he's got to be careful.
Yeah.
And yeah, this is where Fluff, maybe he just decides to go aggressive jungle. In fact, he's already prepared to do it, so it seems Liquid are well prepared for their jungle to be taken over.
Mm-hmm. They didn't block the spawns, but they do have this ward down right in that central location, so they'll have pretty keen vision on Enchantress where she's moving about, and maybe that is, as we've mentioned, a common area where Enchantress tends to smoke up. So if you can catch that, well, makes your mid a little bit more safe. Let's go ahead and introduce these rosters, though, as it looks like we know how the lanes will unfold. We've got Team Empire on our Radiant side, and they'll have Mag playing on the Clockwork, going solo top. Resolution, of course, in the solo mid role, will be on that Invoker. First point in Quas. Most likely will be that Quas Lex Invoker that we've been talking about. Silent down bottom will be playing on the Gyrocopter, and he'll be supported by Vanscore on Dazzle. And, of course, we've got Always Wanna Fly on the Disruptor.
And we've got Team USA. TC going to be handling the safe lane Luna. It's been probably his most common hero as of late. Way 2, support Shadow Shaman. He made big plays for them the last time they played Empire on the same hero. Bulba as a solo mid Alchemist. Fluff on, what a surprise, a jungle hero, the Enchantress. And in the off lane, we have Koikfa playing the Tusk.
All right, so
I'm still trying to research this snowball kinetic field thing, because that's a really good question.
Yeah, and it's pretty relevant in this game as well. So looking at these
but
lanes...
I have not found an answer yet.
Not found it, all right. Need our stats, man.
Well, that's something, if we have enough time in between the games, I'll just test it in a lobby, but
okay.
For now, we'll just have to wait and see.
TC should have a fair time up here on the Luna. Mag's still in experience range as the Liquid supports are still working the jungle. Way 2 does pull to the hard camp here, and Mag will just rotate in and try and leech some of that experience. So everything looking pretty standard up here in the top. Should be good for both sides. Mag will get a little bit of experience, and Luna will be able to farm. The lane I'm most curious about is the Bulba versus Resolution matchup. How does Alchemist fare against a Quaswex Invoker, LD?
Pretty well. Quaswex Invoker is not good at last hitting. In general, very low base damage until he farms his phase boots. Resolution's been playing really well mid, but, I mean, Bulba 11-1 will continue to get a lot of farm, so... This is where Quaswex Invoker is weaker. His mid-game tempo control and teamfight presence is massive, but he's balanced right now, or seems relatively balanced right now because his laning is not that strong. He's only 6-0, Bulba already 12-1. In fact, all of Liquid's cores, I guess you could say, are farming well, outside of the offlane Tusk, and Tusk is going to have a harder time than Clock. He can't cog block the creeps, he can't get the lane back to his tower, and...
Right.
He actually has only seen like 3 creeps so far.
Yeah. Clockwork has managed to steal a couple of last hits. He is sitting about halfway to level 2, and Tusk not even reaching the level 2 mark. You always want to fly with a very aggressive position in lane, trying to harass back Koikfa, keeping him out of experience range, and of course creating space for Silent to continue racking up those last hits.
With Liquid, always it's about Fluff in the laning stage, because he's had mixed results. Some really good roaming in their first few matches in this tournament, and very weak moves in the previous series. So main question is, does he decide to go around? Does he gank a lot early, or does he go more into a farming approach? Like on the first few days, he was just farming more and didn't gank too much early. Level 5 on Enchantress and Chen, as he is double stacking right now. So very good jungle mechanics from him. Unfortunately, he's getting an awful lot of mud golems,
Yeah.
which is not what you want. And so, does he go ganking around? I would say probably not, mainly because he's not getting the best creeps.
He will finally find a centaur, which is a step in the right direction, but may just use it to continue farming there. In the jungle. A very quiet early game, though. Bulba still the big breadwinner here, now 19-1 against the 14-2 Invoker. We've seen some Invokers, I think it was Hani, grabbing that first value point in Exhort, just to last hit a little bit better in lane, and then transition into the Quas Wex. But Resolution will stick true to his Quas Wex Invoker with no points in Exhort.
Yeah, Wex Invoker almost never goes Midas. In fact, we don't see much Midas Invoker lately, even when players are going Exhort. But Fluff is actually going to smoke gank top. So the point is, if you're not getting a lot of levels, then taking that early point in Exhort can delay getting your EMP Tornado to a point where it really hits hard. So
that's very true.
There's definitely a fallback, or a drawback. But Koikfa stacking Ancients, a lot of focus on early farm, and now the gank top does happen.
Mag could be in some trouble here. The War Stomp will be in position. Oh boy, those beautiful cogs will push back the Centaur, and that will create a nice barrier. Though Vanscore ports in, Shackle straight away. Is the follow-up damage there? It is, but he gets the grave off in time, and Dazzle will survive. The power of the shallow grave, LD.
And the power of the early TP scroll. A lot of supports don't carry TP at only 4 minutes in the game. He doesn't even have boots, and in fact would have had boots otherwise, but chooses to save gold for TP. And Vanscore, the heroes of Empire, I think, have been Vanscore and Resolution the past few days. Vanscore has been amazing on the Dazzle, and Resolution has been dominant on a variety of solo mids. So once again, Vanscore making the plays on showing that Dazzle is, like you said, very strong support, and even in the laning stage, but especially later on.
Yeah, one of the supports that doesn't fall off quite as much. Tusk in the off lane is finally starting to find some experience. He is now level 3 at least, but Koikwa is a guy that he seems to be in this situation a lot where he gets denied farm when he picks Tusk, and it always makes me nervous, and then somehow in the mid-game he finds his way into farm and usually makes some kind of recovery. So even though he is at a deficit compared to his counterpart Clockwork in both farm and experience, I have some confidence that Koikwa will make a recovery.
Yeah, and that's the downside of the forcing that TP, is he gets a lot more out of the offlane when the TP is forced out.
Right.
Looks like Bulba, standard solo mid-Alk, he's going to max Acid Spray and Stun, and so between Alk and Luna, they can really abuse Ancient. So I like this play a lot from Liquid. We've seen them, I wouldn't say they've been going all in lately, but they've been going much more heavily on early game strats, and now they're doing something that gives them more opportunities as far as how to approach the game in the mid-game. Now, the Ancients do get warded. Nicely done by Empire with a sentry here, but we're going to see another dive top.
Yeah, Mag in trouble. Shackle to start it off. A port comes in straight away, though Mag will fall. That's the first blood coming out for Fluff and stuff. It's Resolution that's ported in. There's the cold snap on TC. The damage won't be there. There's plenty of support. Nature's attendance as well. And Liquid walk away 1 kill richer, though while that's happening, Tusk does get picked off in the bottom lane, which I did not catch on camera.
Yeah, looks like he just took some right clicks, a Thunderstrike, and then got glimpsed back in. So I was watching the top engagement as well. Invoker could actually get a kill there. So that worked out pretty well for Liquid.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Gyro wasn't level 6, so he couldn't really do a whole lot if he TP'd in. If he was, I think we would have seen Silent come and join the fight and possibly get like a double or even a triple kill. But just a good first blood for Liquid, and again, they go for that gank, they get the first blood, but they have access to late game. Good lineup for it. And they are farming pretty well, so I think Liquid's taking a much more balanced approach to this game, and I think it suits them better.
Yeah, though interesting to note, the experience graph is positive for Empire. They've got about 1,000 experience lead already, and I'm kind of curious where that's coming from. LD.
It is largely the fact that their offlane's getting more. Level 5 already on the Clockwork, only level 3 on the Tuscan. This will change once they farm the Ancients, which hasn't happened yet, but will happen at some point later on. And that's just where Tuskar's not as good of an offlaner in the laning stage, if left on his own, compared to Clock.
Yeah.
Clock can cog the creeps, Tusk can't.
Yeah, very true. It's interesting. It's usually the team with the jungler has a little bit more experience about the map and can find slightly more efficient farm, but not the case here in this game. Gyrocopter also the big breadwinner so far in the match overall. He is leading the way on net worth at about 3.4k, and actually a fair bit ahead of his counterpart Luna in the top lane. Sentry comes down in the mid, and Resolution will find himself a free ward kill if he can land an uphill hit. There we go. A lot of misses there, but does maintain vision control here in the mid.
Yeah, also keep in mind if the game starts going a bit later and there's not a whole lot of aggression, Liquid also have Greevil's Greed, and that is another way that they can, pull ahead in terms of farm. So I wouldn't worry too much if I'm Liquid right now. They're going to make another move towards mid. It's around 8 minutes. Wards normally are gone at this point. But Empire actually has a new Observer Ward up on their own hill, so they're going to see these creeps marching in.
Yep, and they sure do. Dark Troll Summoner on the front lines, though he will expire. And that gank not going to happen. Resolution will just rotate down bottom, and he is going to grab himself an Illusion Rune here at the 8-minute mark.
By the way, he's done a really nice job of catching up after an expected slow laning stage. He even TP top, and he's still even in farm with an Alk who has not left the lane at all yet. But now Alk is leaving the lane. He wants to. They really have to know that there's a ward nearby, but they may not know exactly where it is, because the gank failed mid, and, well, it wasn't much of a gank, but such as it was.
The rotation.
Yeah, and now this haste rune is not doing anything.
Yeah. So Shadow Shaman doing very well, working in the jungle with these creeps. He is now level 5, which is good news. Actually, an experienced lead for Liquid in terms of support levels. For the most part, Disruptor still only level 5 as well, but pretty even across the board. Both teams seem very comfortable just sitting back and farming and having a quiet early game. Only 2 kills on the board in 9 minutes. Much more passive than we're used to seeing with Empire.
For now.
For now, yes, for now. I'm sure.
To be fair, a lot of the heroes that they drafted aren't that strong in the laning stage. Disruptor and Dazzle are good defensively and can pick off like a hero who's off on his own, but they're not. It's not, Shadow Demon Lina, Crystal Maid Enchantress, like really aggressive supports. I do want to mention Fluff has really had a bad luck of it with the jungle. Hasn't really gotten many good ganking creeps. When he got a Wildkin and he stacked the camps, he got 2 sets of golems, so couldn't farm them with Tornado. His RNG in the jungle hasn't been the best. He's only level 6 at 9.5, which is a bit slower than he would have with better spawns, but still, the fact that he's not forcing the ganks too much is good, because Crosswex Invoker is very difficult to gank once he gets to this stage of the game. Yeah. Phase boots, he can ghost walk, you have to carry sentries for him, and if you fail the gank, then it's, what we've seen in past games where you just fall really far behind.
So neither carry is going for the Hand of Midas, but Gyrocopter will go a slightly more greedy build, Phase Boots and Ring of Basilius, straight into the Helm of the Dominator. So perhaps they'll start sacking Ancients of their own, though Empire don't seem interested in that endeavor quite yet. Also in the top lane, TC not going Hand of Midas, does go Power Tread straight into a Ring of Aquila. And does he have something coming on the Courier? He does. That's an Ogre Club, so straight into that BKB like you were talking about.
Yeah, Silence a greedier carry player than TC, at least lately. TC used to play fairly greedy, but Liquid nowadays really believe in this teamfight-oriented style. They haven't been 5-manny much yet, but it will come soon, with Fluff hitting level 7, building the mech, has the urn. Main thing they just got, which they were lacking, was Shadow Shaman wards, but mid lane there's a hook shot in.
And there's the snowball forward. Koikva in big trouble. And they should be able to secure this kill.
Bottom.
Yes, they do. Down bottom. That's the engage that I was waiting for. They do get the kill on Disruptor. That was just unfortunate. I was looking at bottom, then I came mid, and then I missed bottom.
Well, those 2 kills at the same time.
Yeah.
That's where we need picture-in-picture
yeah.
Coming soon. Valve time.
Valve time. So anyway, kills across the board. It's a Disruptor exchange for the Tusk. I guess a slightly better exchange for Liquid, or for Empire across the map. But pretty even all around. There's the wards down bottom.
You do compare the way, yeah, they might be an engagement bottom, but you do compare the 2 offlaners, and Tusk has died twice and stacked Ancients, which is nice. Although they warded it, and he only in the end got off. I believe that's a triple stack.
A triple looks like a triple, yeah.
Is it? There's 2 big. Yeah, I think it's a. It's hard to even click on them. It looks like a triple stack, but he's lower in levels. He hasn't been ganking either. He's been the one getting killed, whereas the Clockwork got a lot of levels in the offlane and sets up a kill mid. So already off the bat, Clockwork showing that if left in like a 1v3 or 1v2, he is the much stronger offlaner.
Very powerful offlaner indeed. But they are giving Koikva some room to farm now that they've made these lane rotations. That is one thing that Liquid does, is if they have a bad offlane experience, they will rotate and share that farm. Oh, Mag trying to connect with the hook shot to grab that double damage rune. It will be off the mark, and Koikva will grab the rune himself. Meanwhile, up top, Silent in big trouble. Bulba did set up a gank. TC will finish him off with a Lucent Beam as Koikva throws in the Ice Shards to block him in. That is a Gyrocopter sandwich.
Yeah, dead Gyro. And with the greedy build, has he been stacking anything? No ancient stacked yet. No jungle stacks yet. Actually, has he even... maybe I missed it, but I don't know if he's even dominated a creep
I haven't
yet.
seen... I've been sort of trying to keep an eye on it, and I haven't seen him dominate anything. This will be the first ancient stack coming from Always Wanna Fly here. A much needed kill on that gyrocopter. He was number 1 on net worth, and now that Luna picked up that kill, they are just about even, and that will put TC one step closer to that BKB, very close to enough for that Mithril Hammer.
So he's going to get BKB. They'll have the wards off cooldown in 8 seconds, and they're pretty close to level 2 Eclipse. Tuskar is in a position to fight now at level 7. Liquid should probably look to force some tier 1s with the wards up. Empire are a good tower defense teams, though, so you got to be careful about how you approach it. Might be best to go for a smoke gank first. Tuskar Alk is a very, very potent just ganking burst damage combo. Just snowball in, drop the Alk stun, drop the poison, acid spray, and then give him the old walrus uppercut. So
the old left right 1-2 walrus style.
Yeah, they haven't taken any towers yet though, and that's where their lineup excels. So would like to see them at least force some Empire rotations, if not take a tower.
Yep. Empire will rotate 3 to the mid lane. Silent slowing down his farm a little bit, possibly looking for an opportunity to engage. They do now have a dominated creep. That's a tier Tormentor. Will stack the Ancients once again. So now Empire are turning up the heat and trying to make farm a reality for Gyrocopter. Down bottom.
And Liquid was trying to as well. Bulba mistimed when to drop the acid spray and was not able to get the stack. And
way too in big trouble. He'll concede a death down bottom. Meanwhile, up top, there's that big snowball looking for Silent. They won't find him, but they should be able to secure a kill on this top tier 1
Maybe
tower.
not. Everyone's coming.
Glyph will get popped. Nature's Attendants will be going down. This could be a good time to initiate. Mag looking for a hook shot. Doesn't find it. They do hold the tower and secure the deny, and they also defend their bottom tier 1 that Rasta was trying to push.
So Shadow Shaman goes down. They still have yet to take a tower, but they have done a lot of damage. The tier... Oh, sorry, they just took the tier 1 top, got denied.
Yeah.
And they also brought the tier 1 bottom low. So they're now doing what their lineup excels at in mid lane. There's a big snowball.
Always Want to Fly will be engaged on Koikva. Not going to have the follow-up damage he's looking for, and...
He could have just gone for an uppercut on Always Want to Fly. It would have been very close.
Yeah, it does get glimpsed back, but ends up being a pretty easy kill for Empire as they converge on him.
Yeah, he decided to run after snowballing into the enemy tier 1, which is generally you're dead at that point, especially against Disruptor.
And down bottom, way too in some trouble. Resolution does initiate, connects with a Tornado EMP. There's the Shackle, but that'll only buy him a few seconds. Resolution adds another one to the scoreboard as Empire pick up some momentum. Meanwhile, in the mid, it's just non-stop aggression now that Empire have found their way about the map. Some calldowns, connecting with Fluff. Doesn't secure the kill, but does create some space, and now Silent will pressure this tier 1 mid. The Glyph comes out. Fluff uses Nature's Attendants and will pull the creeps off the tower. But in comes Mag. Fluff, you're in trouble, buddy. There's the weave as well. That is going to be a dead Enchantress LD. No way about it. No way to prevent it is what I meant to say. And Empire, all of a sudden, with an explosion of momentum.
Yeah, and it's because Liquid don't have any vision. They didn't see anyone from Empire running up the hill. And if you look at their wards right now, they have 0.
Yep. Clockwork will get picked off as he tries to make the retreat. Ice Shards coming in handy, and a Walrus Punch for good measure. That looks like the tower did get the last hit. Always Want to Fly, trapped in Ice Shards. Out comes the Frozen Sigil again. Looks like Always Want to Fly will survive. Alchemist will pay with his life, though.
Stunned himself because he was cold snapped.
Yeah, and the Tornado off the mark, but that's compliments of the Glimpse, and they secure the kill regardless. So another favorable exchange for Empire here in the mid lane.
Liquid is not on the same page. Way2 is off warding the bottom jungle and getting ready to push the tower with his wards, and they were diving mid with just Alk as well as Tusk. So if they want to fight and force fights, then they should be fighting with the wards and with the Eclipse. TC just completed BKB, so now's a good time to do it. But it just, once again, we've seen this from them the past few matches where it just feels like they are not on the same page. And now a solo smoke from Way2, but he's just going to be spotted out here.
Yeah,
and they should be able to de-ward this pretty quickly.
Won't be too successful. Mag does have a hookshot available. Tornado just off the mark. Probably could have secured a kill, but oh, the Cold Snap does connect. In comes the Hex. There's the hookshot. And Bulba, as well as Way2, will be caught inside the cogs. Acid Spray comes down. They make it a 1-for-1. Clockwork sacrifices himself to secure the kill on the Shadow Shaman.
Pretty even. A little bit favorable towards Liquid getting the Clockwork kill, but not too bad. I just want to see Liquid take advantage of their lineup strength. Now Shadow Shaman's dead, but when he respawns, he should have wards pretty much ready, and they should be fighting with Eclipse, BKB, wards, and just we haven't seen the Tusk out doing much. They when they're fighting, they're like diving the enemy tier 1. It's a really good ganking combo, but you can't dive enemy towers against Disruptor, Clockwork, and Invoker. They're too good at counter ganking.
Now we'll see Gyrocopter take out a triple stack of Radiant Ancient, so that will be a nice boost in his farm, taking over his seat as #1 on the net worth chart. And Invoker,
oh no, this could be bad.
On the rise as well, inside the Roche pit. A risky attempt from Liquid, but a weave to scout it out. Tornado, EMP, Fluff just about dead before this fight begins. He will pull out the Nature's Attendants. Always want to fly, perhaps stepping too far forward. Will take a Walrus Punch, the heal from Dazzle, and the Grave. He's just going to go up to the high ground, recognizing he's dead anyhow, trying to give his team some of that valuable vision.
Ward trap on Silent. Oh. Nope, never mind. He phases right out of it.
And he will BKB straight away. Way 2 in big trouble. Koikva very well could be the next target, and he will be. Down he goes. Empire still finding favorable exchanges here. Bulba trapped inside the cogs. Will channel a stun on top of the acid spray. What a disaster for Liquid. A 1 for 4, a low Roshan, and they hand it over to Empire on a silver platter.
Empire have had this ward for a while. They placed it earlier when the Dazzle was scouting the Ancient stack, and they knew exactly what Liquid was up to. Empire still have their tier 1 up mid, and Empire is, like we were talking about in the draft, very scary when you're fighting near the pit. Sure, Liquid are good at killing Roche, but it was a very risky Roche attempt. Now, what on top of that, the execution it was a bad team fight. TC BKB'd and Eclipse, and the Eclipse only brought Dazzle low, but Dazzle graved himself before he died. And that was all the Eclipse did. And this was after he lost like 2/3 of his health to the EMP Tornado Disruptor ult. So, Liquid, I just feel like the past 2 games we've seen them underestimate their opponent's strengths. Last game we saw them underestimate the power of Spectre, Prophet. And this game they really underestimate how strong Clockwork, Invoker, Disruptor, and Gyro are at fighting around the pit. And both times, I mean, they lose the Roche fight. They lose the Aegis. It is an absolute disaster.
Yeah, and it almost feels like some of these teams haven't yet recognized the true power of the Quaswax Invoker. That Tornado EMP made that such an easy initiation for Empire. Before the fight even started, their team had little mana, and they were sort of thrown in disarray with a fair bit of damage as well. And one other thing that you mentioned that is important to reiterate is, Magan hookshot in. It will connect with 2 into the cogs. We'll hold that thought. Fluff in way 2 will stand their ground. Nature's Attendants come out. There's the heal from Dazzle. Mech from Fluff. And
here's Invoker. Oh boy.
They'll secure that kill onto the Enchantress through the Nature's Attendants. Way 2 will survive, but they still secure 1 kill. And looks like they caught vision of Koikva rotating up top, but will not secure a kill. Anyhow, hard to do that Roche sneak strategy when there's still a tier 1 tower up on the Radiant. If that tower had gone down, that Roche would have been a little bit less risky, but with a tier 1 up, it's just so easy for Empire to react.
And they have 3 ways to scout it. They have Clockwork Rocket, they have the Dazzle you mentioned, and they have Tornado.
Yep.
And on top of that, they had wards everywhere. Liquid didn't even really bother to de-ward. They just said, let's go Roche, guys.
Let's do this.
Yeah, and then they paid. And now they're going to find someone else in the jungle. Way 2 is probably dead.
He will dodge the EMP, and they're not going to pursue. Okay. But there is a positive on the field for Liquid. Bulba has been able to pick up his Shadow Blade as well as going for that casual Vitality booster. So he steps in the right direction. They have the mech on Enchantress, and we mentioned that BKB on TC. He's also now picked up the Morbid Mask, which will undoubtedly turn into a Helm of the Dominator.
Look at Resolution, just kind of going YOLO mode into the enemy jungle.
No vision, though. He will back up. Going to play it safe.
Yeah, they have really good aggressive wards. The Roche ward that I mentioned, they also have a good ward spotting the jungle. And overall, Liquid has not really taken advantage of the strength of their lineup, which is once Luna gets BKB and you have wards up, you just push, you drop Acid Spray, and you siege the towers. Now they're finally doing it, but it's after they gave up a lot of sloppy engagements to Empire, and now it may be very hard to take the fight, even with the strength of their 5-man, and you could tell they're very tentative about this push.
Glyph comes out, and they may hope for a deny. The wards will get cleaned up. Some small gold bounty going the way of Empire. A nice deny from Always Want to Fly. That's 2 of the 3 towers that have been killed by Liquid have been denied thus far. That is a big win for Empire. And looking at that gold graph, about a 7,000 gold lead and a 10,000 experience lead here at the 22-minute mark.
Yeah, the tower denies are a big deal because Liquid really relies more on pushing than anything else. I mean, they're forgetting gold. They can farm Ancients, but... And these supports are actually... And the rest of their team's pretty good at killing creeps, but when their jungle's taken over like this, the tower gold is more important than it normally would be. And they're farming their jungle, but Empire are right nearby. Maybe looking to go.
Yes, they will see TC as he reveals himself in lane. A port comes in. Sentry Ward comes down as well. There's the defensive weave as they do retreat. Perhaps anticipating a snowball inbound, but Liquid will be happy to defend their tier 2. Fluff needs to be a little bit careful. He does have support nearby, but a lot of damage could be coming his way. No, they will just back up. No engage.
Yeah, they will back up. They don't have a tier 1, so they may back up quite far. And Liquid are really chasing.
Still an engage brewing. Yeah, I don't think they're going to find it. Hoping that someone was perhaps porting out, looking for some ice shards. They won't be so lucky. Meanwhile, I always want to fly just from... Oh, wow, there's the initiation. And Silent will pop the B as he is in the one in the front lines. Weave comes out, does connect with Fluff, also onto Silent. I think they will settle for a free Enchantress kill. It's just a free kill.
Yeah, why not?
There's not much else to say about it.
And they're just not getting trades.
Yeah.
It's really hard for them. They've just lost a lot of their momentum at this point. It's a lineup that is supposed to defend towers well with Acid Spray, push well with wards, and Luna, BKB, and haven't really done either. And once Empire get their next round of items, it gets really hard for them to fight.
Right.
They're also reluctant to fight because there's Aegis on Silent. That's why we see Liquid playing more tentatively. But while they're busy being reluctant, Empire are just out-farming them and out-ganking them. And Hex is coming soon for Invoker. Gyro pretty much has MKB, and his DPS is going to be insane in the next fight.
Oh, Koikva in trouble. Tornado into EMP. There's the cold snap. Resolution almost finding himself a free kill, but Koikva did grab the invisibility rune that spawned and will walk away with less than 100 hit points to spare. A close call, but it opens up some space for that top tier 2 tower to take some pressure. Silent will be happy to take it down. Bulba coming in. Acid Spray. Nope, no engage. Tower falls. Well, hold that thought. Mag will hookshot forward. Weave comes out. And it looks like both sides will opt to disengage.
Yeah, Aegis is just about done, so we'll probably just see Empire farm the enemy jungle and chill. Although with these big items, they could force it without Aegis. Liquid they're much better at forcing towers, I think, than they are at defending. They're still pretty good at tower defense, but they don't have a lot of huge AoE spells. There's no EMP Tornado for them, no Gyrocopter ult. Let's see if they can make a fight work here, but it's all about the Dazzle, because if he gets off a good grave and Eclipse is wasted, Walrus Punch is wasted, then Empire's going to turn this fight around very easily.
Tier 2 tower in the mid falls in favor of Empire, and also the MKB delivered onto Silent. So although the Aegis has despawned, his next core item is in tow. Sheepstick also up on the Invoker, and even Disruptor working towards an Ag Scepter. Not too often we get to see that ultimate with the Ag's upgrade, which does prevent item usage. So sort of the ultimate counter to BKB if you're stuck in the storm. He's about 2/3 of the way there, so it won't be too far off that we'll see the up Static Storm. What a treat.
And it does drop down instantly, although it has a fairly low range. If you BKB first, then you're fine. But
yes.
We'll see if he's able to. There's so far... Are there any other big items? The mech, disabling Enchantress from Poppy Mech is pretty big. So...
yeah, that's true.
That could be good.
Yeah, and also
Ags... You normally don't see Ag's Disruptor because this hero is mediocre at farming at best. But... he is 2, 2, and 5, and they've taken quite a few towers, as well as the Roche.
It's another one of those really cool Ags upgrades that's really awesome to theorycraft, but in reality comes out so infrequently. It reminds me of the Omni Knight Ag Scepter a little bit. It's really cool, but...
Or the Lion Eggs, I think, where we want to see it, but we're just not getting it.
When does he ever have the farm? At least Lion could be viable solo mid. Disruptor solo mid, not so sure about that, but... Empire will clear out the last remaining outer tower for Empire, the tier 2 down bottom. They will press into the tier 3s as one ports back to try and defend. It will be the Invoker.
There was a glimpse back. Somebody just TP'd home. It was Bulba, but he got glimpsed out. Now they don't have their Alchemist for the tower defense. Oh, this is bad.
They do have a glyph available, though. Defensive Weave comes, and just chipping at the tower, looking for Liquid to come back, forcing them to waste some TPs. Smart play from Empire to press forward, but not overcommit.
Yeah, Disruptor's really good at forcing towers. If you TP in and you don't have BKB, you just get glimpsed right back.
Yep. And that is frustrating, to say the least.
Well, Liquid hanging on for now, but they need damage.
Ugh.
They really need right-click damage. TC only has BKB. Eclipse is going to start to lose effectiveness. Resolution's pretty close to double Forge Spirit. And we've already seen that just Dazzle getting heals off in the fight. everyone being fairly durable. Dazzle's their squishies here, almost has 1,000 health. Everyone else is like 1,400 plus, and Eclipse is not going to do nearly as much damage in the fight unless they just get caught away from the wave in a really bad position, which is pretty unlikely.
Yeah. Wei 2 has resorted to picking up a Ghost Scepter just to try and survive in these fights. Make sure he can get those wards down. It's much needed DPS in these engagements. Enchantress, still very far off that Ag Scepter, doesn't have any of the pieces, so she won't be doing too much damage in the near future.
They're going in mid, though. They smoke ganked.
Wei 2 will be the target of choice. That Ghost Scepter coming in handy, but there's plenty of magic damage to take him down, and Clockwork secures the kill with Battery Assault.
It's good they cut their losses, though. I mean, as soon as they see the Shadow Shaman caught, they're like, no, we're not fighting this.
Uh-oh. And the Rune of Destruction spawning top LD. This could be bad news bears for Liquid in the next engage.
And Empire's gotten really good about this. They always pass the bottle from whoever's picked one up to the carry.
Yep.
And that way you activate it right as you're breaching the base, or right as the crucial moments of the team fight break out.
Luna is pressuring the bottom tier 2, does have a port as well as a Yasha up, so she will be able to make it back to defend, but this is a scary precedent against Disruptor, as we've talked about. If Luna ports back and Disruptor is able to grab a glimpse, that will take TC out of the fight. Glyph pops straight away, Silent still holding on to that double damage rune. We saw the defensive weave come out to make this push a little bit easier, also to counteract the efforts of that acid spray. Empire happy to force out the Glyph, will wait for the next creep wave. They may have to sacrifice this tier 2 tower down in the bottom, though TC...
They're going to go for it, and they know TC's gone now, so he's got a TP really far back, and he actually TP's to the fountain, so not going to get Glimpse back. I do want to mention before the fight breaks out, Silent has gone for a very unusual gyro build. He's only got 2 points in Barrage and just taking tons of stats, so...
Yeah, 7 points in stat, wow.
Yeah, pretty unorthodox. But
still saving the double damage rune as this tier 3 tower gets chipped away. There's the BKB as TC presses forward. The Eclipse gets popped. Always want to fly. Will take the brunt of it. But Gyrocopter turns it around to finish off Fluff. Bulba falls as well, as does the the Disruptor fell. Walrus Punch.
Not enough.
Tickles Silent, but yeah, a 1 for 3. They'll be happy to trade their Disruptor for a mid lane of Rax.
Yeah, the DD rune. The DD rune just didn't work in that fight. That was... You know, it's one of those moments where often a late game DD rune can decide the game, but it's less common to see like a 30-minute DD rune completely decide a game, and what a carry to get it on. Gyro, easily the best hero in the game for that, outside of maybe Medusa. That was just devastating damage, though.
Yeah, it really was. You saw the Eclipse, and then it was just well, the rest of Liquid kind of imploded. About a 15,000 gold lead, 14,000 experience. Empire will actually get double racks out of this, and I think Liquid may be tempted to tap out reasonably soon here. They're on the back foot, and 2 lanes of racks make it pretty grim.
Well, the only thing that I'm not sure about is the offlane Tuskar, because if you look at what the 2 offlaners have done this game, Clockwork's had quite a few good initiations, 2, 3, and 10, and the Tuskar is 1, 6, and 4. And, I mean, it's not just the raw kill score, it's also the fact that... sorry, I got distracted by Arteezy's question here. I don't think there's a winner bracket advantage in the finals, but we'll find out. It's not going to be today anyway. But, so, yeah, the Tuskar got a lot less experience early on, and always want to fly drops. Barely TP's out, and now his team's coming.
Wow,
damn it, Arteezy. I had a point to make.
So there's the EMP, a deafening blast. Oh, Liquid in big trouble here. Koikva as well as TC very low. The last-ditch effort to snowball for a bit of invulnerability, but it will just buy them seconds. There's the GG, well played. Empire will take Game 1 of this best-of-3 series, puts Liquid 1 game away from elimination.
But yeah, basically, offlane Tusk, definitely weaker than offlane Clock against a dual or tri-lane. If they can, it's much easier to keep Tusk out of lane, keep him out of experience. He was a good 2.5 levels behind the Clock. Clock was all over the place making plays. Tuskar making very few. And Tuskar, a hero that, if you're just going to be there for your spells, then generally Clockwork is better. And I also don't think Frozen Sigil was that effective against Empire's lineup. It was really good against Lifestealer, really good against melee carries, but against Invoker, Gyrocopter, Dazzle, Disruptor, 4 ranged heroes, lots of nuke and long range. Like Flat Cannon, 1,000 AoE, that's a lot. So I just don't know if the Tusk was the best choice this game. I still think he's a strong pick, just not for this particular game.
He needs to secure at least a little bit of early farm so he can roam. If he can pick up a couple kills after he hits level 6. The problem was they delayed his experience so much. By the time he hit 6, that edge that you have from the Walrus Punch crit just isn't really that effective. We saw that big one on Silent, and Silent just kind of giggled and then killed him.
Yeah, and as a team, it's just, once again, they were not coordinated. Shadow Shaman was off pushing the bottom lane and warding while his team was diving mid.
Yeah.
You're running Luna, Enchantress, as well as Shadow Shaman. You should be 5-many with the wards. You also have Alk, a good hero just to crowd control, drop assets for under the enemy tower. They didn't have to dive towers, but just siege with the wards. That's the point of the draft.
Yeah, it was an interesting way to try and use the wards where they had way to sort of solo, just YOLO, drop the wards and run away. And that is a slow way to push the towers, and it also makes it easy for the opposition to farm those wards and get a little bit of extra gold. So,
well, best of 3. This one will be on US East. Didn't seem like server made a difference. Like, they just made weird decisions individually.
Yeah.
And server is not going to change how much experience Tuskar gets out of the offlane.
Exactly. So. I would be hard-pressed to buy that ping was the driving force between Liquid's
either way,
lack
Game 2
of
coming up, I
coordination.
guess.
Yep. Game 2 incoming, guys. We've got the lobby up. Stay with us. You're watching Beyond the Summit.